Hello, everyone. It throws me off because my Fathom tells us that it's recording, and then I'm telling it to record within Zoom, and it doesn't say it, and I wait for it to say it again. All right, we'll get used to it. Let's head on into Collectively Rewilding. All right, here we are in Collectively Rewilding. I have not changed a lot since we were all together on Monday. We will be starting to make some changes again, primarily just changing the icons. I talked to Miss Julia this morning, and she's really happy with all of the changes that have been made so far. And though the community voted on moving down to 4 or 5 groups, and I was ready to comply, we would lose material. There are already courses set up in each of these groups or spaces, and if we try to move them around, it messes them up. And right now, you can't even move lessons up and down anymore. You used to be able to have the ability to manipulate the material. And now, once you put it in there, that's where it's at. And so it's just not a very good idea to move the courses around. Maybe later I'll create a test area and see if the courses can get moved around to different locations without destroying their content. And then we may consider going down. I still do like the overall idea of having the type of climate as the deciding factor for where each state is in its own space. I think that that really does work better for the idea of what we're doing here in Collectively Rewilding, allowing us to put out that specialized content for those regions and having it have that cohesive nature of similarity to content, right? Definitely something to continue to think on and work on. I also moved forward as far as going nonprofit. I was able to get in contact with the gentleman from the Tooele Valley Community Co-op. He sent just a response email, and I kind of outlined what we're doing here, told him that I was told they support nonprofits. It was kind of off-putting a bit, right? We talk about it in Lesko Help too when you're dealing with these resources that are free or low cost, or in this case, something, an entity to partner with as a newbie nonprofit. That's supposed to be what they do as an organization, but he's just like, hi, how can I help you? And I'd already said, I'm a new nonprofit. So I put that into the email response that I sent back to him, gave him a little more detail about what we're doing here and let him know that within the Utah Nonprofit Association, which is another nonprofit here in Utah for the state of Utah, whereas the TVCC, Tooele Valley Community Co-op, is more for or exclusively for Tooele County. And so I am reading through their literature, and one of the main questions that the UNA or Utah Nonprofit Association asks when you're deciding to form a nonprofit, are there already entities out there offering the same basic idea, such as an environmental club, right? Just an overall environmental club. I could name several off the top of my head that are doing that. There are no platforms, entities, websites, nothing along those lines doing what we're doing here in Collectively Rewilding that I've ever come across. If any of you come across something like that, please share it here in Collectively Rewilding. We'd love to see it. All of these ideas, moving back to nature, being more cooperative with nature and making better decisions regarding nature as we move forward, that is a big endeavor, and it's going to take a lot more of us than just one club here or one organization here. All of this doing what we're doing together is the whole idea about Collectively Rewilding, and we love featuring people doing different things, sharing different things, learning different things, teaching different things. That's really the whole idea, is what are those of us who care about the environment doing going forward to interact in a better fashion with our own environment, right? So a lot of fun, a lot of different things going on behind the scenes, trying to move us forward. We are going to be having an email sequence that we're going to add into effect, that when those of you who are new join in, you will get an automatic email, and then another in about 3 days, and then another, and just about 5 overall, maybe 7 emails spread out between a week to 2 weeks if you choose more emails, right? These are all things that I'm putting together in the background to keep us moving forward. And at the same time, I need to be thinking about the marketing to try to get more content creators in here. And so that's one of the things that we focus on here in Collectively Rewilding, is showing people the steps that we're taking and that others are taking to make progress, right? Whether it's just starting a garden, having an established garden, the people that are talking about foraging, the people that are interacting with skill sets that are more nature-based. There's a lot of things going on out there. And so really showcasing what it takes to become an entity, as a for-profit entity, as a nonprofit entity, as a brand, as well as building the garden that we have here in Collectively Rewilding, and building in all these soil structures where it's not already a manicured garden. You really get to see it built from the base up, the soil up, right? So that is a big part of what we want to showcase here, and we want to feature newer artists that are learning how they're going to do it, that are doing what they're doing out in nature, out in agriculture, and help them to showcase what they're doing. All right, so having said all that, there's just a little bit going on there. This is more about questions. How is everybody doing? What are your gardens looking like? Have you been outdoors? Anything going on in your world? Please feel free to just unmute yourselves. I haven't taken a peek there at who is with us tonight. We have Mr. Benny and Miss Tammy as our regulars, and Wendy and Second Chance as our newcomers. And so we would love to hear what any of you are doing. All right, I can keep talking. I've always got a lot to say, right? Please go ahead, Second Chance.
My plants died. I had the maximum I could have 4, and they all died on me. I do not have a green thumb.
All right, well, just hearing what you just said, my first recommendation, if you're interested, would be to start off at a much more at a smaller rate. It sounds like you went gung-ho, right? Is that correct?
No, they had
No?
4 plants.
Oh, 4 plants. Oh, I apologize.
Only 4, and they all
Okay.
died.
Oh no. So what did you have, and what kind of setting were they in?
A grow tent.
Okay. Grow tents are pretty specific.
Okay, 5 by 5.
No, what I'm saying is they take a little bit of experience to be able to have success with, right?
Exactly. And I don't have that green thumb in order to keep it going.
So did they dry out? Was there too much sunlight, too much heat?
I think, I mean, I bought so many different pH testers. I think it was actually the soil. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I watered them pretty good. I did all, I don't know how many. I got a whole list of, grow YouTube videos, and I thought I did everything right,
Did
and
you grow in ground, or were you growing in containers?
10 gallon pots, and
So
you
what
know,
kind of soil did you use?
Coca-Cola.
And that was it?
No, I had other mixtures in there too, and I was trying to do organic as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't turn out like everybody's videos have, There's these guys that have same size of tent, same type of lights, and they have probably 30 plants grown in their same 5 by 5. And I can't even do 4.
So, okay,
I
when you
laugh.
start with container gardening, you don't generally start the seeds in such a large container.
No, I
That,
didn't. I didn't.
oh, okay.
Nope. I stacked up, but they were also auto flowers, so they don't like to be transplanted, from what I was been told
Oh,
too.
I couldn't understand what you called it. What kind of flower?
Auto flowers.
I'm not familiar with them.
Oh, it's
Like
a
like a clone?
Is it a clump?
No, you
Oh,
got the regular kind of plants that will grow, and then you got autoflowers that basically grow and germinate into flower on their own. It doesn't matter. I mean, they don't
are you
even
talking
like,
about like annuals, perhaps? I'm not familiar with this auto
I don't
flower.
know how to explain it then. It's a high genetic seeds that take
Oh,
on,
into like genetically modified?
yeah, just click in autoflowers, cannabis autoflowers.
Oh, okay. That's specific.
Yeah, those.
So it says auto-flowering cannabis or day-neutral cannabis varieties automatically switch from vegetative growth to the flowering stage based on age. I'm
Ex
guessing that you don't have to have as much sunlight. They're very strict,
no,
12 on, 12
exactly.
off.
And they're
Okay.
very touchy plants, but they take less time to grow to get to flowering. Um,
Auto-flowering over your traditional.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it just didn't turn
Do
out
you
well
have
for
much
me.
experience with growing in general?
No,
And
Virginia,
you're saying this is a harder thing to grow than your traditional cannabis?
well, they say they're easy for beginners. The seeds that I
Oh,
got was for beginners. And
okay.
but with
So let
here,
me just say this about mixes. I am not the best at container growing. It's kind of my Achilles heel.
right.
However, I can grow things in containers, and I did a test on a very popular mix called the Square Foot Gardening
Uh-huh.
Soil Mix. It's
Uh-huh.
the how does I think SFG soil. Anyway, it's from Square Foot Gardening, and it's world known to some degree, very popular. I made a mix that was sustainable based on the criteria of what they put into this. Oh, it's called Mel's Mix. That's right. He's Mel Bartholomew of Square Foot Gardening. It's Mel's Mix. So I made a comparable but sustainable variation for CR's mix. And then I did just regular garden soil straight dug out of the ground. I put 3 bulbs in each container, 3 in the garden, 3 each of them. 3 came up in the garden, 1 came up in the CR's mix, none came up in the Mel's mix. So one thing, when we don't find success with a specific type of gardening directly in ground in a raised bed with containers, if you're able to, right, if you're not in a limited space where you have to use containers, try another method before you just decide outright that you have a, I guess, a brown thumb, not a green thumb. I don't know what the opposing terminology would be there.
Right. Right.
If you feel
S-
like you don't have that green thumb.
yeah, one of the other problems is I live in a townhouse community and you can't grow weed in sight of people. And
Understandably, yes, because
yeah,
marijuana, of course, is a completely different type of
right.
a plant. You usually have to have it like behind locked
Yeah.
doors, something to that effect.
But when
Hmm.
you have balconies above your backyard and 2 doors down is a DC police officer, well, I don't think that would look good having a big 12-foot plant growing in my backyard, you
No,
know?
definitely not.
So I have to keep it in my grow tent downstairs.
Okay.
So
So I
that's
would
the problem.
definitely experiment with something maybe that's not as expensive. I'm guessing these are not cheap. I would try just some flowers or some easy vegetables or something that go well with container gardening and practice with some different soil mixes to see if you can find a soil mix that you have better success with. And then try again to go into this auto flowering cannabis attempt.
Yeah. Well, I'll get there eventually. I got other things on my plate right now.
I
And
believe it, right? Getting this community going. That's what sometimes it's very hard for me to get out in the garden because I'm so busy working on what it is that collectively rewilding is, right?
right, I understand that you do seem very busy doing 2 different sites at the same
Yeah.
time, plus
And
maybe,
then I actually work in Julia May's community as well, not as an employee or anything like that, but she and I have bartered time. And so, in order to get her community a little bit more active and engaged, they were already doing great, but to really start driving that community feeling like we feel so easily and let's go help too, and for those core of us here and collectively rewilding to interact like that. Um,
right.
I spend some time in her community and then she's coming in and she's going to do some work in our community. And so it's I'm taking about 5 or 6 courses in her community and that's the work that I'm doing. It bolsters her community. I'm spreading the comments, doing my time over there to, have that bartering system working and then following her instructions for those courses over here so that her work really goes into things that aren't basic that I can do myself, right? So it's it's a big process. And then Megan and I, or Megan Pater from Lesko Help Too, she has her own community, and then she and I work together on a lot of different projects. So
Yeah,
it's
you guys are super ladies, it sounds like. You know, so much going
so
on.
fun. Yeah. Well, I do think that all of us really, and we all met initially in Let's Go Help Too, right? So that community spirit that Matthew Lesko draws in is really what I think all of us are trying to build in our own communities and in our own lives, even, and to have that piece that's missing. I don't think that we're just missing a connection with nature. I think we miss a connection with community for many of us throughout the country.
Well, then you got the whole social media. Everybody has their thumbs on their phones texting this and that, you know. It's just
Absolutely.
not the way it used to be. You know,
And so
you'd
that's a
go,
part of this too. I want it to bridge. I want people that are comfortable online to come in here and see the rudimentary things to go out and be outside, whether it's hiking or camping or gardening, anything like that, right?
well, it's up to us old people to get the next generation down to start teaching their kids
Yes.
the stuff that we
And
want.
just to memorialize the skills so that at some point if someone needs them and they can access that material because it is disappearing, right?
Very much so. And that's, you know, the whole reason try to do starting to do my community on it. You know, I mean, it would be so much better, I think, a lifestyle to be able to teach people important skills that they could use later on in life, you know, and the only way you do that, in my case especially, is by seeing it done, you know,
Well, and
show
that's what
me.
this is about too, right? That's exactly it. And the voice to voice connection for the people that are learning that skill. That's what's lacking in our online world. We have all these people doing all these amazing things. I feature their content for those that really speak to a lot of what we talk about here and that are further along or doing a different thing. But they teach only by recorded or live interactions that you can't ask questions. You can't ask them to dive more deeply right in the moment with something that they're talking about and have a follow up response back and forth like that. And so that is a lost art in this online education that we're all taking part in. There is no direct back and forth interaction. And that's another thing that we are really trying to showcase that we can still have that type of interaction. And it's a kind of another unique piece, right? When we're talking about, is there anybody out there doing what we're doing? I don't believe that there is. There are tons of courses, but they're not direct voice to voice interaction. There are tons of agricultural YouTube channels. There are Facebook pages filled with feeds and groups. But not only are none of those together as a whole, there's no direct interaction. So I think
Right.
that's a
On
big part.
I
on
have a
my
question.
go
Oh, I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, no,
It's
go ahead.
okay. Oh no, I wanted to know if anyone is making anything for Fourth of July out of their garden. Are
Oh,
they?
that would be so neat, right? We're just building it. We dug into the ground and we have about, my guess is somewhere around 5,000 pounds of soil that we're now having to manually move around the property. So we put some things down to improve the soil content and get it healthier. It was dead soil for the most part when we got here, but we're not to the point where we're growing food yet, right? We want to get our walipini. And funny enough, our first produce will probably be in the middle of winter in our
Oh,
partially submerged greenhouse, which is a walipini.
okay. All right.
How about you?
Just wanted to know. Wanted to know like zucchini or something, cabbage or something.
And is this Wendy?
Yes, this is me,
So,
Wendy.
yeah. So
Yes.
have you started putting any plants out onto your patio?
No, not yet. And I wanted to know when you're growing something as such. Um, I don't know. Excuse me for the terms. I don't know the words. I guess it's harvest, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, harvest.
You're
Like
gathering the fruits and the vegetables off of the plants, the herbs, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it growing or producing or blooming. It is like, do they just like bloom like nonstop or?
It depends on the variety of plant. Some plants you don't even want to let bloom, such as broccoli or any of the herbs, really. There probably are a few that you do let flower on purpose, such as chamomile. You're gathering the chamomile flowers. That's a good
Mhm.
example. So we have what are called ditch lilies in the front of our property, and they're really pretty, but they're really struggling right now. They will continuously bloom if you take the steps to help them continuously bloom. These, I wouldn't even have to do that. They're not healthy enough. The previous owner just watered this property to death, almost literally, and they're really struggling for nutrient content. So I'm working with them, and they don't have enough nutrients in the soil to create the ovary of the
Mhm.
flower after it falls off. There would be an ovary left, and these
Okay.
just deadhead themselves because they don't have a good enough nutrient content to create those ovaries. However, because the nutrient content is so low, even though I've removed all of even the stems, which you shouldn't have to do, the ovaries are the part that really tell the plant to quit creating flowers and start concentrating on those ovaries and seed creation. They're not growing more flowers. So there's a lot of variety to the answer of that question. Does that
And how do you control the size? Because I would like to grow collards. But I know collards can grow like really big. And the
I am
collards
not
I
familiar
bought
with
from the
collards
grocery,
at
they were
all.
small. I and then there's some like meat stores I would go and they'll be huge and long. So I noticed that some collards are small and which is manageable, and then you got the huge ones.
I had thought they were like a lettuce-like plant. Okay, so I'm guessing. Let's see if
I have both kale and collards, and I the store I have here is called Winn-Dixie. So I bought it from there, and they're small. Um, and I know I've seen kale and collards huge, like really big, like big fanning looking leaves.
so.
Was your
I
plants organic from the store? Sometimes they might not be organic.
Oh no, no, no. I'm pretty sure it's not.
They'll usually be labeled pretty clearly if they are, right? So if
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would.
so,
I've learned that if you're going to do that, you should get organic ones and start it from organic.
yes, that is
Okay.
better for your taking from the grocery to grow at home with the plants that can do that. I absolutely agree with I apologize, with second chance there.
Okay.
One thing with collard greens, when you're talking about keeping it to a maintainable size, as you see here, yes, collard greens can be continuously harvested like lettuce using a method called cut and come again. I've not heard of that, but just
Oh,
there's things like chives. There are a lot of different,
so probably keep up
they're
with
called
it.
brassica plants. And so those are like I believe collards are that, but they're similar if they're not a brassica. So like your broccoli and your cauliflower, but they're not good
Yeah, I
examples.
thought it would be in that same family, right?
Let's see, we can find out. But so you
With
can just
broccoli and cauliflower.
It's
harvesting it.
What's it called?
mostly like your lettuces. A lot of your lettuces are like that, where you just cut the tops off and they'll keep growing.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that. The
Well,
main thing.
depending, I don't say cut the tops off, depending on the type of plant, whether you cut the tops off or you pull off leaves, right?
You're right, exactly. Either or.
hmm And so let's
Okay.
see if collards are a brassica. I can't remember what lettuces are. I don't think they are a brassica.
So what's the C
They
word?
are.
The cruciferous, whatever. Yeah.
A cruciferous is another word for brassicas, basically. So
Oh, okay, I got it.
is
Okay, I got
there
it now.
any real difference?
Sound like dinosaurs. It's dinosaur names.
And I probably don't know how to spell this. Oh, I did. Okay, great. Brassica versus cruciferous that are often interchangeably used to describe this group. Absolutely. I think Brassica may be the family, and Cruciferous is the type. That's my guess. Let's see. Yeah, genus.
Okay.
Okay, no. So Brassica is the genus, and the Cruciferous is the family.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now
So
you,
much fun out there, right? And so many things that you can just keep diving more and more deeply into the different names that are, whether it's even a fruit or a vegetable, a nut or a seed. There's just so much variety in.
So all of them together, even cabbage would be.
Yes.
Okay.
And cabbage is another one that I don't think you harvest continuously like broccoli and cauliflower. So let's see. Can you continuously harvest cabbage? Okay, so I have heard about this with broccoli as well. You can remove the head and sometimes get secondary crowns with broccoli as well. These are several heads of cabbage, not a guarantee it looks like, but you don't harvest them leaf by leaf or like with chives, cutting off a portion of the leaf.
Okay. Okay, got it. So things like tomatoes, bell peppers, those grow in a lot. Like
that's a totally different kind of a plant. Those are nightshades. And so they produce a flower. You don't want to let your cruciferous vegetables flower. That means they're going to go to seed and then you're no longer harvesting them. So if you do want them to create seed, right, like get that secondary head on there and then let it create seed if you want to harvest seed. They're very small. The general recommendation is to take a paper bag and put it over. You'll be able to bend it at that point because you don't really care about the plant once you're harvesting for the seeds per se. And then kind of shake it in there while you hold it closed to gather the seeds off of a lot of these types of plants. They're very, very small seeds. But that's the point of these plants, when they produce flowers, they're going to produce the seeds, and you no longer really use the produce aspect. With something like nightshade, it's the exact opposite. You want it to flower proliferously where it's good for the plants, right? You have some limitations there. There's always caveats in the natural world, but you want it to have a lot of flowers that then turn into your fruits and vegetables.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And so you can.
I did download a book. I have to read my book, but yeah, to get
I was going to ask you
gardening 101
like that into your report if you wanted some like overall guidance on growing those specific plants. Or okay, I can definitely do that. I don't have the ability to create my own content, but I can share some content that is easily consumed, quickly consumed, and will get you going in the direction you want to go.
Okay, because I know Tammy shares some links with the community.
She's an amazing researcher.
Like how to plant thyme, how to plant what is it, coriander. It was a lot. I was like, oh wow. I said she is busy. So yeah,
she loves it, right? She loves doing it in both communities. So she's an amazing friend and an amazing contributor. So
that's good.
Yeah, and the research that she'll share with you will be based on the kinds of principles that we're all learning and teaching in Lesko Help too, keeping ourselves safe, finding more reputable information, things like that. Now, when it goes to the articles from like House Digest, AOL, that's an exception, but her how-to guides are almost always going to be from a .edu source. And so that's going to be a very trustable educational source. Maryland and Minnesota are both really big on putting out a lot of amazing content. So even though it doesn't come from your state, when it's a common plant like tomatoes or broccoli, then you can look at their guide. And they'll generally put something in, like if you have more dry climate, you need to do this. If you have a more wet element to your climate, you need to do this, right? And so those are really good pieces that she's sharing, with the exception always for all of us, whether we're reading it ourselves, if it's something any of us have shared with in Collectively Rewilding. When it's an article, don't implement the things that are suggested in that article without doing your own research, because that is why I started creating that document for us. No, I apologize. About the ground covers, because in every single article that I read, they shared an invasive species, and very rarely did they mention any cautions around those species. That is
Oh.
horrible. One exception is the blue spruce. They mentioned some and they very clearly said this is invasive in this region, this is invasive in this region. If you do want to grow it, you need to take precautions, etc., etc., just like mint. Mint is a very invasive species. If we want to grow that culinary herb, we need to take precautions so that it doesn't cause harm just to our own yards and gardens.
Or there's some, like, I guess you should learn about the nutrients of what you want to grow too, because I was learning about, I kept hearing about taro root, because I do Caribbean dishes at times,
Mhm.
and I was like, what is this root? I was like, and um to find out that it can be kind of poisonous a little bit.
Like cassava, right? Cassava is another
Yeah,
very
something like
common
it. Yeah,
type of
you
ingredient.
just gotta, make sure you peel the skin of
Mhm.
it. Yeah,
If you
yeah. So
eat raw potatoes, if anyone eats 8 raw potatoes, they are likely going to die. You have
yeah,
to know
yeah,
about
that's what they
food.
said. Taro root, you do not eat it raw. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and
And
cassava,
I
they
love
have to actually leach out the toxins. It's a pressing method where they literally push the liquid toxins out of it to create a dry meal.
oh wow.
Mhm.
I love ackee, and I know ackee is poisonous.
I'm
The
not sure. Can you spell it for me?
it's a fruit,
Mhm.
but I eat it like as a vegetable. We'll eat it with fish or so, but you can actually eat it raw. But there's a black seed. You can't eat it. You can't eat it closed. It has to, like, bloom. It has to open up by itself. You
Gotcha.
cannot force it open. If you look it up, it's a big. It makes a
Do you
lot of.
know how to spell it? I couldn't.
Oh, how it sells in cans.
So spell
But
it. Spell the word.
spell it. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's Akee. I could be wrong. I don't know if a C
It
is
looks
in
like
there.
that's correct.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
A key, also spelled with a C, it looks like either or,
That's
is
what I thought.
native
Okay.
to tropical West Africa and is the national fruit of Jamaica. Interesting that it's from West Africa, but it is Jamaica's national fruit. So
National dish. Yeah.
they
That
must have brought it when
yeah.
they came to the island, and it obviously did well there. And very interesting, right? I love learning about plants. That's just like the dandelion. People don't realize it. They castigate the dandelion, but it actually heals soil that's damaged, and it's a very useful plant.
Really?
I mean, tremendously useful plant.
Oh.
Yes,
My
every part of the dandelion is edible. Please go ahead, second chat.
wife is Middle Eastern, and one of the dishes I had before was dandelions and onions. They caramelize the onions and then they put the dandelion leaves in it. And it's like one of the best tasting dish I've ever had. And before we got married, I never ate any kind of Mediterranean. It's either Chinese takeout or Italian pizza, you know. And then I got married to her, and it's all Middle Eastern food. And well, I learned that dandelions are pretty darn good if
And
you
they're
cook them.
very good for you.
Yep,
Very, very
yep,
good.
Yeah, it's good for the
exactly.
liver, right? Cleanse the liver. I buy the tea. I would drink the tea. Yeah.
So all we really have to think about, and it doesn't matter which of us and which ancestors we're thinking about, when they came to this country, they brought plants and seeds from their countries. And so while now we're a little concerned, not a little, we're very concerned with invasive species, and that wasn't a concern at that time, they brought those plants for a reason. So if it's not a plant that's being brought in now by like our shipping, or if it's like these Chinese walking fish that have, God knows how they got to the continent initially, but they're just crazy survivors, right? That's a different kind of coming to this continent or any other.
What they're called?
They're called Chinese walking fish, and they're, oh my
Oh my God!
gosh,
They literally walk? I
they
mean, that's just a
literally,
name.
so they don't
I'm
walk,
gone.
but
I'm
they
out.
crawl with their fins across from, if their water source becomes like overpopulated, is drying
Oh
out,
my!
contaminated, they
The
can
day I
come
see a
out
fish
and
walk, I'm out.
crawl like army crawling is more what you would think of it as looking at, but
Wow.
yeah. And they're coming. They're already here, and they're going around, man. It's edible. So this is something we've talked about in a previous class as well. One of the things that people are implementing in these different places where these invasive species are becoming a problem is they're opening up restaurants for the edible varieties of these species and making meals out of them to help try to fight the hordes of these species that are coming in and just taking over entire ecosystems, right? Like these guys are really bad for trout specifically, and they take over, right? They're very good at surviving. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a pretty old species, right? Like we have some species that have had very little adaptation for millions of years, I want to say, right? Like the lungfish, the coelacanthus, something like that. They thought it was extinct even. They didn't think it existed anymore, and they found it, and it's still basically the same creature that was, possibly even back with the dinosaurs. It's a very, very old fish.
Oh,
I
wow.
wouldn't be surprised if these Chinese walking fish or something like that as well, and they may be a part of the branch of maybe even reptiles leaving, right, and becoming something other than a creature in the water. If that's really where we all started, it seems logical to me that some of their offspring could have branched out and become other things, but that this is a pretty old species. It's an incredible survivor.
I
It's not
just
only
I just posted a link of Chinese walking fish in chat.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you. Okay.
crazy. So
Wow.
they're on the, I think maybe some in the Midwest and the South. It might be all over on the eastern side of the country. They're really becoming a major problem. Another one is the tegus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And they're a partially warm-blooded or warm-blooded lizard. Uh, so it doesn't even protect those of us who have snow. A lot of times we're saved, from things like killer bees. They can't survive when it gets to a certain degree of low temperature. And these tegus might be able to evade that. They're good eating, but they'll probably eat a person because they can kill a small deer, like a white-tailed deer.
Oh, wow.
To my Rocky Mountain deer, they're a lot smaller, but they're still a deer, and they're no Alaskan little bitty deer. They're a full-size deer, and it can kill and eat a deer or an alligator.
Oh,
Not a large alligator, medium or small to medium alligator.
I thought
They're
the
good
only
eating.
thing alligator would be scared of or you know would be the I think it's when I listened to the documentary, I think it's a hippo.
That would
Yeah.
make sense. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I bet you that here the alligators really don't have any natural predators other
Yeah,
than
yeah. But I
Mhm.
know they fear hippos.
I hear
Uh,
that. They're supposed to be one of the most aggressive species out there. They
yeah.
kill a lot of
Yeah.
people every year.
Wow.
Yeah, we're scared of things like sharks, but deer kill. I think they kill at least something like 50 people a year.
Deers? Bambi?
Yes, ma'am.
No, not Bambi. Okay.
200. 200 fatalities. I thought it was over 100. 200 fatalities in the United States.
Is it the kick or
Right.
the horn?
It can be either or. People thinking they
Okay.
can go up and touch, Bambi, and they're not. They're not nice. They're not gonna like be okay with you being that close to them. Um,
Mm.
I knew a guy that used to run with the elk, and that's actually an ancient cultural practice. But you couldn't have gotten me out there doing it as close as
No,
I
that's
got.
that's
Was to stand
crazy. That's
outside of the
dangerous.
car, the truck between the door and the truck. So I was outside while this whole herd of elk was just rushing by. It was pretty intense.
I'm
So
sure a
people
lot of
die,
those fatalities are hunters that didn't see the deer behind them.
and something like that would definitely probably contribute. Even
I
thinking
think
the deer is dead and coming up on it, and it's not, and they get too close.
the closest I've gotten was a zebra, a buffalo, and a Indian rhino. I never knew rhinos were tall. I didn't. I
Crazy.
never knew that. And I
Yeah.
fed it collard greens. Oh, I fed her collard greens, but it was between a gate. I would not
Right.
be right there with her. But yeah, the what we have here in Florida, it's called Lion Country Safari. You could drive your car.
Hmm.
through the safari. Thank God they got those lions caged up, because they will open your door. They're too smart or whatever. You
I've
gotta lock
heard of
that.
things like that. Yeah, they
Yeah,
have some attractions like that in California as well, right? I never
yeah,
did get to experience them when I lived
yeah.
back there.
So that was awesome. Yeah. Usually when I
But
go to
unfortunately, it's one of the things keeping these endangered species alive. There are more domesticated tigers alive on this planet than there are in the wild.
really? Oh wow.
And there used to be a lot more species of both tigers and lions, but because of humans putting them in the Roman Colosseum, having them as pets, all the high lords and nobility and the kings and queens of all different kinds of nations had these lions and tigers as pets and trophies and things. And we as humans
That's true. Remember when
knocked
that
out
doctor went to
multiple
go
species.
he went to, I think it's Zimbabwe, the national park, because that was, their source to keep money coming, you know, to Africa. That's like their tourist part. And he went to go killed what's his name? It's a S word. It's a lion. His hair is black.
Oh, and they killed
Yeah.
him.
He
The
killed him.
police got
Yeah.
him.
Oh, they were so upset.
Oh,
He was not supposed to do that. That was illegal.
no, yeah, it's poaching. It's tragic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name. It was such a cute name, but I forgot. But yeah, he was the first that ever was born like that with the hair black. Usually it's like orangey red or so, but he had a hair black hair.
That's just too bad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it happens a lot, unfortunately. So it's not
They
just
don't
habitat
respect
loss.
the wildlife.
It's actually a trade on the black market, right?
Oh my.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really sad. But there are a lot of people. I try not to focus on those things. I try to focus on what I can do to make something better where I am, because that's
That's
the
true.
only thing I can touch.
Yeah, that's true. That's
And
true.
I feel like that is the way to move forward. There are so many people that are literally suicidal from depression over the state of the world. And I'm not sure that all of their projections are even accurate. There is too much control over academia. It is not true academia. Science is not really science. Um, that's a provable fact. You don't have to care about if you're blue, red, green, yellow, any of these things. Science is controlled by the people that pay for it way too much of the time. And people that do their own research, even when they're from academia, even when they have those degrees, those doctorates and things, they're shushed very harshly when they try to show studies that have been done that argue with the status quo for whatever kind of
Oh
science
yeah.
almost. And so,
Almost threatened. Yeah.
mhm. And
Yeah.
so for me, I do my own research. I look at things that are far right and far left, and I figure that it lies somewhere in the middle. And in the end, that doesn't even matter, because all I can do is what I can do. And all I can change is to make better decisions myself about how to move forward and show what I'm doing in case someone else is looking for a similar type of method, and show what others are doing in case the methods that I'm doing are not their cup of tea, right?
Hmm.
That
That's what I
lion,
think we can all do. Go ahead.
that lion's name was Cecil.
Cecil, yeah, Cecil.
Aw, that's really sad. It is.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
not to ignore or minimize those. I still read the headlines, and I'm aware of a lot of things that are not positive. Um,
Hmm.
when I'm looking at that, though, I'm looking to see if I could figure out a solution to that problem rather than focusing on the negative aspect of it, to just
Hmm.
keep myself out of that constant state of fear, worry, and depression.
Yeah,
Actual
yeah.
clinical diagnosis now that people are depressed about the environment.
He was poached in 2015.
Uh,
Oh, it happened in 2015?
Yeah, that's what Google says.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I research and learn new things out there, and then something comes up and I'm like, "Oh, wow." You know? Yeah. Oh, I hear you, Benny. I know.
oh yeah, does
Mhm.
any have
Yeah.
something that we should be sharing? Oh yeah, that is a part. Benny says he's seen lions in bad condition in the zoos. I've not witnessed it in zoos. I have seen some pretty deplorable conditions for like petting zoos or little attractions on the side of the road kind of places, and it is very, very unfortunate.
Oh no.
hmm And it's
Oh
really
wow.
hard even in the well-kept zoos. Still think about it. Okay, so they say that a hamster should have something like 250 square inches of space to move around in to really respect that hamster. Now, extrapolate that to a lion. Can you really readily provide that much space to each individual animal when you don't let them interact? Because if they're not in a pride, lions are going to fight, males and females even. So
Yeah.
you can't have them sharing that space. And so no matter what, we're containing them in environments that are really not large enough for them.
I was looking at a silverback um at the time when I had the vision to visit Animal Kingdom, and I saw the father and the kids just jumping all over him, and he just looked so miserable, like
Somebody was
and
like
he's like
climbing on a
right
gorilla.
at the glass, and I'm looking at him in his eyes, and I'm looking at him, and I could just tell that he like to me, I don't know, I feel it. Like I don't feel he's happy. Like I was like, I don't think he's happy here. you know, like he should be running around and grabbing bananas off of trees and stuff and running. Like he didn't seem happy at
DC
all.
DC has a free national zoo you can go to, and I've been here over 22 years, and I have yet to ever go there. Last time I went there was probably 40 plus years ago.
We stopped even taking our kids to the circus. Yeah.
Oh, remember, right? Not knowing. You
Yes, knowing, even if they really care about their animals and they do everything that they can to keep them happy and healthy, it's not a healthy environment. They're traveling in these, trains and trucks and crates, basically. They're not your dog that's been trained to. Cats don't domesticate very easily. There are certain animals that become what is truly domesticated, such as dogs. Then there are other animals. Some of them are our livestock. A goose is, unless there's just some rare, weird little goose, that goose is probably not going to be your friend. Or if you baby, bottle fed it, didn't have any other things, treated it like a pet, you might be able to get some affection out of that. Most livestock birds are very mean. And then you have those that are more domesticatable, like horses and dogs and cattle. If not like your buddy, they're very complacent in their domesticity. But when you look at a common house cat, Felinus domesticatus, they are not domesticated. We can call them domesticated all that we want, but if we want them to do what we tell them beyond creating a very respectful relationship, I actually can get my cat to do quite a bit of the things that I want, but he's still going to get up on that table when I'm not looking at him, maybe less than some,
Exactly.
but he's a cat. He's not fully domesticated. And if I kicked him out the door, since I've never declawed him or put a bell on him or anything like that, I taught him not to get birds and encouraged him to get rodents. So he kills very few birds because cats are horrible for their environment. They kill the bugs, they kill the birds, they kill the rodents. They're like weasels. They kill for pleasure, not just for need. And they devastate every local environment that has cats is devastated by those cats. And so there are things that you can do. I discouraged, I didn't, oh, that's sad. That's a bird. Oh, you shouldn't kill birds. I don't like it when you kill birds. Naughty, don't kill birds. And then encouraging him when he kills a mouse. I can encourage behavior, but in the end, my cat's going to do what my cat's going to do when he decides to do what he's going to do, and he's going to fight me if I try to stop him because he's not domesticated, right? My
Yeah.
Cats
dog,
are
on the
stuck
other
up.
hand, is different. Oh, just because they won't love you if you don't treat them right, and they're not obsessive worshipers like dogs. I love my animals, both dogs and cats.
Yeah.
But
I
there's
had rabbits. I had rabbits before, and I used to, the vet was like, "Oh my God, you take good care of them," because I would always, and they were expensive. And then, you know,
were they
brought him.
friendly? A lot of rabbits are not friendly.
Yes, he
That's
would play
wonderful.
hide and go seek with me. If I exercised, he would jump between my foot and jump and exercise with me. He was really funny. Yeah, he was funny.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter got to hang out with one that was really friendly, but then my cousin had one for her daughter that was just mean. You had to be careful; it would bite you, and they can
Oh
bite.
yeah.
Rabbits
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
woo,
Yeah.
they'll bite. It doesn't.
Oh
They can
yeah.
cut through. They can cut into bone. I think.
Oh.
They have a
One
strong.
time I fell asleep and I was rubbing
Mhm.
between his ears and I fell asleep. So, you fall asleep, you're not rubbing anymore. And so I felt something nip me. And he was like looking at me like, why did you stop? I was like, oh my God. I called him Oreo because he was black and white. I was
Aw.
like, Oreo, why did you? Goodness, so bossy. And he nipped me again because he wanted me to continue rubbing on the top of his head. I was like, my goodness. I didn't know animals could be so demanding.
Oh boy, yes they can. Right, for sure.
They were training you.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys. Well, does anybody have any other questions that they'd like to go over before we shut down class tonight?
Just one more. Is it best to? Is it okay to get like the seeds from like Home Depot or Lowe's or start from or organic
Uh,
at the grocery store?
um,
So it
if
all
you,
depends on like your seeds. What do you want to do? Do you want something that is not genetically modified? Do you want something that's a hybrid and won't produce seeds? Or do you want something that's an heirloom that you can gather the seeds from and grow year after year? Also with herbs, remember we've talked about this many times.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
buy the transplant, not seeds, right?
Okay.
So
before
what
you
would you
close
want?
down, I'll send a link real quick.
And you can
Okay.
always share them in collectively rewilding as well. Michael will they'll stay there so that everybody can see them if they're wanting to use them. Oh, I apologize. Oh my gosh, I'm
I
gonna have such a
enjoyed
hard
this.
time with
Thank
that
you.
second chat. I'm sorry, what was that, Wendy?
Hmm?
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said I enjoyed this. Thank you.
It was a lot of fun tonight, actually. More conversational than a lot of the interactions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of fun. All right, guys.
And
So
just if you go, if I don't know if you shop Amazon, if you have capabilities to shop at Amazon.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Be
Okay.
careful. Don't get anything rare, or you're probably not going to get what you ordered. But common type plants,
Oh.
Right. But they
yeah.
have on their site organic seeds and this, let me look at the link again.
And so organic is different than heirloom. Organic means that it was grown organically, only using the pesticides that are allowed for organic or less, right? They can always use less, but there are some pesticides that are allowed in the organic designation. Heirloom, on the other hand, can be also organic, and heirloom is the one that's going to continue to produce viable seed year after year after year.
They have 30 packets of different assortment type of plants, organic. But they have just a wide variety of different things you can get from them that are organic starting out.
Yep, an heirloom and all of it. And so basically what it comes down to is what kind of seeds you want to get. And it doesn't matter if it's Amazon, Lowe's, Home Depot, your local garden store, if it's your neighbor next door and they offer some seeds. Really, that's not there's no worry about that. Just what kind of seed type you want.
Exactly. Just punch in heirloom seeds
Mhm.
and they'll come up, or heirloom organic seeds, and you'll
Mhm.
see what they offer.
That is the best, right? For sure. And here we're not only going to go organic, there's not a special certification for it, but we're not going to use any chemically lab created interventions or growth methods, right? Like fertilizers or seeds or things like that. So there's all kinds of different levels that people go to. And so, what do you think you would prefer, Wendy?
I think she's looking at the link now.
Oh yeah, I was looking at it. I'm sorry. What did you ask me?
What do you think you prefer for seeds? What of those options sounds appealing to you?
I don't know yet.
All right.
I don't know
Well,
yet. I'm still
um,
deciding.
let me,
When I had my rabbits, that I would have had a whole listing. But now I'm like, I don't know.
um, what I can do is add not only some overall instructions for the different types of plants that we talked about for your porch, I can
Yes, yes.
also include some overall explanations of the differences between the types of seeds that you can pick.
Yeah, yeah, please, because yeah, I was gonna say you should put a vocabulary listing of, the different types of seeds and, you know,
Hmm.
what type of soil to buy and all that.
Okay, you're giving me all kinds of great ideas here, my dear. Um,
Because I could just simply go and get the one that's already like sprouting from Home Depot or something and then try to take care of it. But I guess that's no
No,
enjoyment.
Home Depot, they're not really organic. They're not, if the ones that you're
not.
getting from sprouting,
Mhm.
a lot of them I would say is Monsanto, hazardous.
I mean, it depends on what you're getting. Like, they barely have some genetically modified tomatoes. A lot of the genetically modified is more like in our grains and our um, uh, corn is technically a grain as well. It's a grain and a grass. It's a naturally modified or hybridized plant from what is it? A grass and I can't remember. I think it is a grain, a grass and a grain that ancient peoples here in America used natural processes to get them to hybridize into maize, which became corn. So,
And I have to see what is easy to grow because I only have a patio. I live in a townhome community. So
and so that's why instead of
yeah.
growing like a tomato plant, as you would just grow with a big cage, if you grow the vining tomato, it'll take up less space and produce tons of great tomatoes for you, right?
Okay. Okay.
You, Wendy, you can
Yes.
also look into vertical growing too.
She's that's actually we built a little report for her based on what she wanted with her patio, and it's got
Yeah. Yeah.
and
But these are terms I have to
trellising.
look up. Didn't know it was so detailed. All
Trellising is
I know is
done
a pot and something growing out of it, like a little plant pot, and it grows out of it. But now, I learned a lot from you guys. So
With
thank you.
with vertical growing too, it would help you with privacy on your porch.
right.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's what we were talking about with that, and it's trellises, right? That's one type of vertical grow. She's also doing shelving, which is another type of vertical grow.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to try that too. And
And that
remember,
was all
like,
her own idea, right? Like she designed this, and I just put it together for her so that she could really see what she wanted there.
yeah.
Yeah. And so have you had a chance to look it over? Is there anything else that we can include other than your basics for growing each type of plant and the different types of seeds? You said a vocabulary list. I can work on that one over time, but it won't be just for your report,
Yeah.
right? We'll
Yeah.
put
I'm not gonna try the big guns first. I'll try something little. And
right.
then when it grows, I'll be like, yeah, I did it. So I try
Herbs
it.
are almost all very forgiving. You're really doing these plants, and there's a lot of herbs that go into most styles of cooking. But yes, certainly it was Jamaican cooking. Is that right? That you like?
Caribbean, yeah. My family is Haitian, but where I live, it's like, we have a lot of culture. So I learned a lot. So I cook Jamaican, I cook, Haitian, Italian. So we learn from each other, but we do use a lot of herbs.
Yes.
Thyme, coriander, parsley, garlic. We use a lot of garlic in our food.
Those three styles of cooking, not only do most cultures use herbs, but those styles of cooking, they are heavy with herb usage,
Oh
right? All
yes,
three of them.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes.
Very
Yes.
wonderful. All right, guys. So we'll get together this Saturday. Are you going to still be available this Saturday after the 4th, my dear? Miss Tammy?
Oh yeah, I'm always ready, Miss Sabrina.
And how do you put it? You have a saying. I know you say something on like, oh, something James Brown. What do you say?
I'm on like James Brown. Yeah,
There
it's
you
down
go.
like James
All
Brown.
right, ready to go. So that's going to be this Saturday at 12 o'clock noon for Pacific, 1 o'clock p.m. for Mountain, 2 o'clock p.m. for Central, and 3 o'clock p.m. for Eastern. Hope you guys are all able to join, and I will be with you again on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 Central, and 9:30 Eastern. I hope to see you all in the intervening classes over in Lesko Help 2, and hope to see you here in Collectively Rewilding. So much fun getting this all out there as second chance of working on funding his land and his projects over in Lesko Help 2. But his project is really talking about what he wants to do with that land at the same time. So it's just how beautifully these two different thought processes mesh so well for our communities. All right, guys, please feel free to open your mics and say goodnight.
Enjoy your 4th of July and be safe, guys.
Buenos noches, everybody. I'll see you
Good night,
mañana.
y'all.
Hey, happy 4th.
Thank you for the meeting.
Vanessa. Bye, Benny.
Joining.
Bye,
See
Sam.
y'all with dinner.
Bye, Nina. Bye, Sabrina.
Bye, guys.